carbon neutral by 2060, invested $360 billion, and it just happened like that. Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of Mythbusters.
You can't say this, you can't say that. How are you supposed to interact with China?
The Chinese really take it to the next level. These people literally eat anything that moves.
I encountered Asian stereotypes. Never encountered
China
Asian stereotypes.
certain trains.
I didn't know that.
Opening up and freedom of expression.
China doesn't care about pollution. I think this is completely wrong. The question we should be asking, or rather the topic we should be exploring, is whether China contributes to a lot of pollution around the world. And again, I will be lying if I said it didn't, because in 2020, China was the largest contributor of carbon dioxide emission in the world. And this has been building up over the last couple of decades, or rather last several decades. A lot of the reason for this happening is because China just grew so quickly. And it's true, China grew at 10% year on year for the last 40 years. As part of that, China essentially went through the Industrial Revolution in, let's say, like 20 years compared to the West that went through the Industrial Revolution in almost like a 100-year period. So you can see when that happens, when a country industrializes so quickly, they're obviously going to create a lot of pollution. But to say that China doesn't care about pollution isn't a completely unfair statement, because China absolutely do care about pollution. Not only do they care about pollution, they fundamentally try to fix the cause of the pollution by investing in renewable energy and having a really top-down approach to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. So for example, Xi Jinping's office have said that they want China to reach peak carbon dioxide emission by 2030, which means by then they want to start reducing carbon dioxide emission, and they want to be carbon neutral by 2060. This is obviously a huge commitment. If you think about it, this is actually very beneficial to China, especially when we talk about renewable energy. Of course, the more renewable energy that China uses, the less carbon emission there will be. Not many people know this, but China already is one of the largest investors in renewable and sustainable energy. Over the next 5 years, 36 and 40% of the investment around the world in solar and wind energy will come from China. Do I think China will succeed? I think the answer is yes. Few reasons. One, when China wants to do something, and when it's especially top down coming from the government, it almost always succeeds. One example is recycling. Recycling was implemented in Shanghai, I think last year or a couple of years ago, and it just happened like that. From zero recycling to compulsory recycling, having specific sections for food, having specific sections for plastic and other recyclable goods were implemented almost immediately across the entire city, and now they're rolling that out slowly to the rest of the country. So almost in like a year's time, China caught up recycling that the West has been doing for decades. Also, as I mentioned earlier, China is already the largest investors in renewable energy. They're also becoming the world leader in electric vehicles. So I can't remember the exact stats, but I believe China wants to ban petrol cars or stop using petrol cars by 2030. So that's another really bullish commitment by the Chinese government, and they can do this because China has such a top-down approach. And by 2030, it's forecasted that 1/5 of China's electricity consumption will come from non-fossil fuels, and that's a huge commitment. Just to sum up, I think it's really important to understand that China has created a lot of pollution over the last few decades, but China also very much do care about pollution, because it's a win-win situation that the more they invest in renewable energy, the more independent and the better it will be for Chinese economy, and in turn will also create less pollution. China's State Department, that's responsible for clean and sustainable energy, invested $360 billion in 2020 and created 13 million jobs. Comparing that to the US, just to put that into context, in 2018, the US only created 800,000 jobs in renewable energy compared to China's 13 million. So I think we can safely say that China does care about pollution, they do care about clean renewable energy, and I think China already is, but it is going to continue to be one of the biggest players in renewable energy.